So, love him or hate him, one undeniable fact about Syed Saddiq is that he is an amazing debater. With countless championships and numerous Best Speaker awards, there are a few things that Syed Saddiq does in his debates that you can follow to improve your own debating skills. So the reason why I'm talking in English, so that this video can be used as a reference for debaters who are going into English debating. It's not because my BM sucks or anything. So one thing that is interesting about Syed Saddiq's debating style is that he introduces narratives in his debating. Normally when you see new debaters coming in, they would go straight to the facts. They go argument 1, argument 2, rebuttal, blah 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 blah, and then the end. But for Syed Saddiq, what is interesting about him is that he introduces the arguments by using stories. There's this one example that you can search up. It was a debate on abolishing the death penalty, where he was for keeping the death penalty. And what he did was he started off the debate by talking about a story in which a girl was raped, molested, and died after a gruesome 1 month of torture. And from that example, he goes on to say that 1 month is equals to 24 hours times 31 days. And he goes specific. What is interesting about how he does this argument is he starts off with a story, he goes on to his argument, he wraps up the argument by wrapping up with the story, by relating it to the earlier story. So what this does is it makes the audience connected to story, it makes the audience connected to your arguments, because humans are naturally inclined to understand stories better and to be much more interested in listening to stories. It is easier to captivate audiences rather than just going straight for the hard facts. And then the second thing, what he does in his debates is that he quickly dismantles opponents' mechanisms. Okay, so what are mechanisms? Mechanisms are plans of action that debaters often introduce to show how their argument can work. So mechanisms can be in a lot of ways. It can be through the introduction of a campaign or maybe an educational system. But one common mistake that new debaters often do is that they do not address and they do not dismantle, they do not dismiss the mechanisms that are brought forth by the opponents. Okay, so let me give you an example. In the debates on the abolishment of Anti-Fake News Act, where Saddiq was pro-abolishing the act, the opponent introduced amendments to the Fake News Act to make it more feasible. But what Saddiq does is he addresses these amendments and talks about how even after amending the Fake News Act, it's still a bad idea. By doing this, by quickly dismantling your opponent's arguments, they are either forced to abandon their mechanism or they have to spend time, they have to waste time defending their mechanism. So for the third thing, Syed Saddiq uses arguments that appeal to the audience. And what this does is it makes for a much more engaging connection between the debater and the audience. Because the thing is, you need to know what debate is. Debate is not about winning hard facts. Debate is about persuasion. How you win an audience, how you win a tournament is about whose case persuades best. So one example is again the Anti-Fake News Act debate. A lot of his arguments, his body posture, his tonality appeals to the audience. He always brings up how he believes in Malaysia and he believes that Malaysia can do better even without an Anti-Fake News Act. But one thing I have to say for sure, it is dangerous to use it too much because then you'll be committing the fallacy of appeal to emotion. So for myself, I really love using the narrative because the narrative is such an easy way to make sure you are engaged with the audience. And the thing about judges is not all of them like hard facts. Some of them actually like to see more of your tonality. Some of them actually like to see more of your engagement with the audience. Alright, so that's it. Definitely, you don't have to follow each and every one of these tips because Syed Saddiq doesn't even use this in all of his debates. But whenever possible, these are very effective debates to help you win your battle.